Hello, yes, it's Mr. Thompson here again, on to week 4 of Sound and Light. So we've done 3 weeks of sound. We're now moving on to 3 weeks of light, or 2 weeks of light, and then a little project in a few weeks' time. Um, you've got your booklet. I'm not going to refer to the pages because I think some of you have expanded your pages and gone on, so the page numbers here might not quite be right. You should be looking for week 4, which was originally page 13, but as I say, it may have shifted. But look for the week 4 activities, and you'll find the success criteria today. What we're going to learn today is you're going to know how sound and light take time to travel. You explain why you see things before you hear them, and you also explain the difference between luminous and non-luminous objects through diagrams. So your first task, you should be on this page here. Your first little task for you to do, you can pause this video, try and do it yourself, and then on the next slide, on the next screen, it will show you the answers. You've got to match up A, B, C, D, E, the times it takes for light to get to us from the sun, Pluto, moon, the nearest star than the sun, and a computer screen on your desk. Have a pause, see if you can do it yourself before you look at the answers. So here's the answers. The sun, it takes 8.5 minutes for light to reach us from the sun. Pluto is much further away from the sun, so it takes 10 hours from the light from Pluto to reach us. The moon is relatively close, so it only takes 1.3 seconds from the moon to get to us. The nearest star than the sun is a long, long way away, and it takes 4 years for the nearest star for the light to reach us. So when we see that star, what we're seeing is that star 4 years ago. A computer screen on your desk, the light gets to you almost instantly. It's a very, very small fraction of a second. Okay, your next task is to try and work out the meanings of these words: transparent, opaque, translucent, absorb, emit, reflect. If you like, you could look them up for yourself, but on the next screen, I'm going to reveal the answers. So here are the answers. The word transparent means light can pass through. Sometimes you might say it's see-through, but it's better if you say it's because the light can pass through it. Opaque means that it blocks out the light can't pass through it. Translucent means that light passes through, but it's scattered when it can. That's a bit like your bathroom window might be a bit frosted, it might be translucent, so people can't see directly through there. The word absorb means to soak up light. The word emit means to give out light, and the word reflect means to bounce off. Light bounces off a reflection of light. Okay, you'll also see in the bottom of that page explain why we see things before we hear them. So for example, you see lightning before you hear the thunder. Now why is that? You should ask yourself. Hopefully you'll be shouting out the screen, you know the answer, but here is the answer. We see things before we see them, before we hear them, because the light travels much faster than the sound. So the light always reaches us first. We see it, and then a short time after, the sound reaches us, so we hear it. So we see lightning before we hear thunder. The further away, the bigger the gap. Okay, here's just some facts for you, which you don't need to write. There's no place in your booklet for you, but if you want to write them in the notes at the back, you can. Light carries energy. Light's a form of energy. Light travels in straight lines at very high speeds, in fact, 300 million meters per second. Or 300,000 kilometers per second. The amount of energy depends on the color of the light, the brightness and the color. And actually, blue light carries more energy than red light. We'll discuss color in next week's lesson. Okay, true, false. See if you can try for yourself. Okay, you should be thinking about these before I tell you the answer. The moon is a light source. Well, it looks like a light source. It looks like everything else in the sky, but in fact, the moon is not. You only see the moon because the light of the sun reflects off it. The sun is a light source. It's true. It gives off its own light. Light sometimes travels in curved lines. It's not true because light travels in straight lines. Luminous objects radiate energy as light is true, and sound travels faster than light is false. So there's your answers to those. Again, they're not in the booklet, but if you wanted to write them down, you could. Okay, your next task in the booklet, leading on from those words, the word luminous. Luminous means it gives off its own light. So if you were to look at a luminous object, for example, a light bulb, the light travels directly to you. What I'd like you to do in your booklet is to draw with a pencil and a ruler a straight line with an arrow going from the light bulb to the eye. Light travels in a straight line. You wouldn't be able to see the bulb if there was something in the way blocking it. So that's how you can see the bulb. That's how you see luminous objects. At the bottom of that page, you'll see a little place for you to write in. Light travels from luminous objects directly into our eyes, and it travels in a straight line. So you always draw it with a ruler. On the next page, or the bottom of that page, non-luminous objects, how do you see it? So, for example, this book. You see the book because the light bulb is there. What happens is the light reflects from the light bulb, it comes from the light bulb to the book and then reflects into our eyes. Again, you can draw that with pencil and ruler and be very careful. I've drawn it so that the angle is the same. It bounces off at the same angle. And that's quite important in your studies next year when you join year 7. At the bottom, how do we see non-luminous objects? Well, we see them because the light from luminous objects onto non-luminous objects, the light travels in a straight line and is reflected by the object and travels to our eyes. Quite a short lesson on light, an introduction to light this week. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to try these tasks. So we finished sound last week, and the back of your book has got activities. You'll find activity 3, test yourself on sound. There's a lot of questions there. What I'd like you to do is try question 1 to 4 and try and have those done, please, for next week. And next week I will share those answers with you. If you're reading this, listening to this before I've seen you, I'm looking forward to seeing the boys in my class in the Teams meeting. Until next week, stay safe and goodbye.